What's up everybody, Teancum here with Sew Yeah Quilting. Today in this video I'm going to show you how you make this summertime popsicle quilt. Let's get started. Let's dive right on into the cutting instructions. As you can see, I've already gone ahead and pre-cut all of my fabrics, and I'm going to put all the dimensions of these fabrics here up on the screen now. Our next step is we're going to start with these 5x8 rectangles here, and we're going to sew them right sides together to make the body of the popsicle. Just like this. So I'm going to turn it right sides together and take it over the sewing machine. Once we have our first seam, we're going to bring it back over, and we're going to repeat this process but on top. Now we have all three of our 5x8s sewn together. What we're going to do is take our 2x2 squares, and I've already gone ahead and marked a line corner to corner. That way I have a nice guide of where I want to sew. I'm going to put this right side down. Same with this one here, and I want my points or the markings that I've made to face each other, just like so. I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and sew right across my diagonal lines, and then I'll cut and open them. As you can tell, up to this point I have not cut or ironed anything. What the next steps are is to cut off the excess that we have on our corners here. I'll do that to both sides. I'm going to cut 1/4 inch away from my seam. Now from here, I'm going to take this over to my ironing board and iron this all the way out. Now that I've made a dozen of these popsicle bodies, what we've got to do next is we have to cut 1 inch off the bottom, which gives it that true popsicle look. So I'm going to turn this sideways, pull out my ruler here, line that with the bottom edge, and cut. We need to do this to the remaining 12 or the remaining 11 that we have, and then we'll move on to the next part. So now to make the popsicle stick, I'm going to show you a super easy way to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to take our 2.5 inch brown strips by width of fabric, and we're going to open them all the way up, and we're also going to take our strips of 3.25 inch by width of fabric, and we're going to sew them onto both sides of our brown here, and then we'll go from there and subcut. I'm going to put this right sides together and sew all the way down. And now I'm going to add on the other side. Now I'm going to take this over to the ironing board and press everything out. Now I've ironed everything out, I'm going to lay them down on my cutting mat here, and I'm going to cut off one end. That way I know everything's straight. Grab my rotary cutter here. And then I'm going to subcut it down to 6-inch blocks. Now we need to just cut out 12 more of these, and then it's time to assemble our quilt. Now to finish assembling this block is so easy. All we gotta do is take one of our popsicle bodies and one of our popsicle sticks and put them right sides together, obviously with the popsicle stick on the bottom. Put them right sides together and take them over to the sewing machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. We'll repeat this process 12 times, and then all of our blocks will be complete. Take this over to the iron. And here's what the finished block looks like. Now I'm going to show you how you sash this and turn it into a quilt. I've already gone ahead and measured my quilt block, and then I went and cut 6x20 inch rectangles here, which is just a little bit bigger than my quilt block itself. That way it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. What I'm going to do is lay my sashing right sides together with my block here. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. I'm going to iron this open, and then we're just going to keep repeating the steps until all of our blocks are sashed. Now that I put sashing on all my blocks, it's time to put them together. What I'm going to do is just lay them right sides together like this, and sew a 1/4 inch seam down. I'm going to connect 4 of the popsicles together, and that will make 1 row. There we go. I'm going to iron this open, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Now from here I'm going to add 2 more popsicles, which will finish this row. Lay them down right sides together, and sew my 1/4 inch seam. Here's what our row looks like. We need to make 2 more of these, and then I'll show you how you put them together. Now that we have all of our rows completed, it's time to make our horizontal sashing. What we're going to do is take a 3.5 by width of fabric strip, and we're going to miter the ends and make 1 really long strip. So I'm going to put these right sides together. Now I'm going to take my scissors here, and I'm going to cut off this excess 1/4 inch away from my seam. And then I'm going to open up these miter seams. Now for the next step, we're going to open up our first row, and I'm going to sew this strip onto the bottom. Again, right sides together, and we're going to sew this on, again, 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Now that I've sewn this onto the bottom, I'm just going to take a pair of scissors here, and we're going to cut the excess. Now I'm going to take this other piece of sashing we have, and we're just going to repeat this step. So I'm going to lay it down and sew all the way down with a 1/4 inch seam. Now that we have our sashings sewn to our rows, it's time to put this thing together. It's super easy to do. We're going to take it and put right sides together. And to make sure everything lines up super straight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my popsicles with the other popsicle underneath. That way I know everything stays really straight. And then I'm going to take some pins and pin all the way down. I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Then I'm going to iron this open, and then I'm going to repeat the process. So here's what the quilt top looks like so far. The next step is to trim off these tabs that are on both sides. We're going to just lay this down on our cutting mat. We're going to pull out our ruler, and we're going to line it up so it's flush with both the top and the bottom popsicle here. And I'm going to cut these tabs off. I'm going to go all the way down the quilt to make sure I don't have any extras. So to finish this quilt top up, I'm going to put a 6-inch border all the way around, and then I'm going to take it across the building to our in-house longery to have it finished. As always, if you've liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. We're going to leave instructions on how to make this quilt in the description below. My name is Teancum, teaching you how to sew like a pro. We'll see you here next week at Sew Yeah Quilting.